What's up, guys? It's your girl, Shavonna Adams, and you're listening to KUAW Radio.
Hello, Kansas City. This is Emma Ben with Africell. I am encouraging you to come out August 26th for the African Gospel Festival 3.0. If you're looking for a great African food, vendors, gospel artists, that will be the place to be. Highland Community Church of Christ, August 26th, beginning at 5 p.m. Call me, 816-824-0275. See you there.
A little bit because she pulled up and I saw she pulled up and I'm like, I see her out there. Why? So I tap on the window and she's going over her own financial piece. So as young as she is, she's very attuned to financial literacy. So first off, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm good. First day of school, so I'm tired.
True.
Yeah,
True.
so-
We probably could have talked about that.
You know what? It's funny you say that. We're not gonna talk about the where, but we're gonna talk about. I got an idea I want to bounce off of you in regards to that. So,
All for
so,
it.
so we're gonna do your piece first,
Okay.
and
okay.
then we'll dig into me asking you for some advice on something.
All
So
right,
first
all
off, we were talking about first of all, the topic of money and financial literacy, and you had said a word. You said comfortable.
Yeah.
Why do you think people, one, should be comfortable talking about financial literacy,
Right.
and why people are uncomfortable talking about financial literacy?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to preface all of this being said.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a financial advisor,
Right.
expert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a degree in finance, none of that.
Right.
I'm just a person who reads
Mhm.
and did some research. That's it.
Exactly. And the thoughts and views of this show does not reflect the thoughts and views of KUAW Radio or people who are financial literacy experts.
Exactly.
We're just two friends having a conversation.
Exactly. Now, with that being said, comfortability with money is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you stop and think about it, let's just look at it from a biblical perspective. The people who give the most, Good Samaritan, King Solomon, they had money. They did good things with their money, but they had money. That's the ultimate goal. You can't really do a whole lot outside of give your time. And don't get me wrong, giving time is good, but giving time doesn't really affect as many people as giving money does.
Right, yeah.
Even here in Kansas City, we used to have Secret Santa. Just go around give people money at Christmas time. It helps. So to be comfortable, first of all, you have to be able to talk about it. Because if you can't even talk about it, you can't address where you falling short, where you need help at. Because the fact of it is, majority of Americans, black, white, Hispanic, purple, or it doesn't matter. Majority of Americans are not financially literate. It's one of the few subjects that they do not really teach us in schools. I don't know anybody who graduated knowing how to do their taxes. And that's a base of life, especially in America in a consumer society, capitalistic society. You gotta know how to do your taxes because IRS want theirs, regardless,
exactly.
whether you know or don't know. So first step is you gotta be comfortable talking about it. You gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable, because when you talk about your finances, it can be an uncomfortable discussion for a lot of people.
It can be.
Especially when you think that majority of Americans are in debt up to their eyeballs, don't know how their kids are gonna graduate, let alone retirement. Retirement is a scary word for a lot of people.
It is.
You don't have the money. You're not going to be working. You probably won't have a job because let's face it, companies don't want to hire older folks. It's a sad tale, but it's the truth. So where's your income going to come from? And Social Security, for people like myself, don't even count on that. Because 9 times out of 10, it probably won't even be there. So you got to get comfortable talking about it so you can go and find the help and get the financial literacy that you need to get out of the hole you in and actually start living life and not just surviving. And that's my main thing. When I went on this whole journey on my own, me and my husband, we both got raises recently, and we're making too much money to live paycheck to paycheck. We're doing something wrong. That's the first step. You got to admit, I don't know everything. Obviously, I'm falling short, so let me go find some people who know exactly what they're talking about who can help me.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I've learned from talking to people, mainly my financial advisor. I went and I talked to probably about 4 different financial advisors, and I told them all the same thing. This is my goal. This is where we're at. This is what I want to do. I'm not deviating from that. Now, what can I do?
Yeah.
The ones who laughed at me, I didn't go back.
People actually laughed at you.
Oh, yeah. When you go and get a financial advisor, I'll tell you what happened with me. We look for a financial advisor, and one of the first questions they ask, when do you want to retire? Most people, the age of retirement, when you can pull all your benefits and everything, is typically 65 and a half. I don't want to be 65 and a half. I want to be 50 when I retire. So that was what she said. She was like, okay, you want to be 50 when you retire. Let's see how much money it takes for you to live right now. And then we got to multiply that by interest and all these other numbers. And that's going to give us the number that you need to retire and live the lifestyle that you currently have at the age you want to retire. I said, well, I don't want to live the lifestyle I currently have. I want to live a better lifestyle. I'm young, so we suffer through a lot. Not the best houses, not the best cars. Everything's on a budget. I'm like, I don't want to live like that when I'm older. I want to live good, drive a nice car, live in a decent house. I'll be able to go and travel whenever I want to. I can't do that now. She's like, okay, well, let's see how much money you want. And me and my husband looked at each other, and she said, well, let's start here. How much money do you want to increase per month? And we looked at each other and like, I don't know, a number. She said, say any number, it doesn't matter. We joking, we was like, we want to increase our monthly income by $25,000. She said, $25,000 a month. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, okay. This is what we can do to do that. And she didn't bat an eye. She didn't slink away. She let us know up front, hey, it's going to hurt. You're going to have to suffer for a few years, get out of debt, and then we can actually get your money rolling. She started to explain to us that to make money, you have to use your money. Because when you think about it, money don't take sick days.
No.
Money don't take off. Money don't take vacation. Money don't go get married. Money don't have a baby. Money don't get sick. So it can always work for you. It doesn't need to sleep. It doesn't need to eat. So while you sleeping and while you eating and while you enjoying your time, your money should be able to be doing work for you. And that was one of the first things she explained to us. And that's some things that the wealthy do that we don't do because we don't know. Not because we can't do it. We just don't know.
Right.
So you got to start finding somebody who knows. And once you do that, then it gets easier to have the uncomfortable conversation. This is where I'm at. This is how much money I'm in debt with. This is how much I'm paying out every month. This is what I'm living like. You got to have that uncomfortable decision. But first, you got to come within yourself and realize I'm messing up.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that a lot of people don't want to do because that takes pride. You got to put your pride to the side to understand, hey, I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And the fact that she wouldn't spoke to this woman.
Yeah.
And she gave you all this information. And she just and she talked to you. She didn't talk at you. She talked with you.
Yeah.
That in turn made you comfortable.
Exactly. Exactly. And to know, like, for example, my financial advisor, her name, I'll tell y'all her name. Her name is Sabrina Pratik. She is not from Kansas City, Missouri. She lives in Florida.
So how'd you talk to her on the phone? Or was it like a video? Zoom?
Yeah, we just did like a little Zoom call. But all the information that I got, she gave it to me for free. I have yet to pay this woman to be my financial advisor. That's another thing that you will want to look for. She's teaching me, not telling me. And there's a major difference in that. So she's not telling me, you need to take your money and do this. We talking it out, and she's teaching me. I'm like, well, what if I do this? You could do that. This is what could happen. Or how about we try it this way? This is a little bit of a better option. Another thing, too, I don't take advice from nobody who's not in a position in life I don't want to be in. That's something my grandmother told me, and that's something I live by. I don't take advice from nobody in life in a position I don't want to be in. So when we were talking, she told me her net worth. I didn't even think to ask that question.
She told you her net worth?
She told me her actual net worth. Because I said, I want to be a millionaire. And I ain't talking no little 5-6 million. I want to be a millionaire.
Nah, she a millionaire?
She is. She's a millionaire. And what made it even cooler was she started in the same position I'm in. Even she started later in life than I started. And she's a millionaire. And I think she told me less than 10 years. She's a millionaire.
That's amazing. So yeah, it's kind of like you don't dress for the job that you have, you dress for the job that you want.
Exactly.
So you're talking to someone who's in a position that you want to
be in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be rich, you're not going to take advice from poor people, right?
No.
That's not smart.
Yeah, if you want to be married, you're not going to holler at your single friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to own a business, you're not going to talk to a worker. You know what I mean? So it's the same concept. If you want to be rich or if you want to be wealthy or you just want to be comfortable in life, you need to talk to somebody in that position.
Yeah, if you want to be free, you want to talk to a slave.
Thank you. Thank you. And to make it better, I started talking to church members.
Yeah.
Who I knew just from my, association with the church and how close I was with the church secretary, my grandmother. I knew who had money and who didn't.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
So,
especially based on how they dress.
Of
too.
course. And then, that can also be deceiving though.
They
from
can
what
be.
I've learned.
Yeah,
that can be deceiving.
Yeah, you're right. They can be.
But it's a certain way that people who are comfortable carry themselves. And you can tell, like, when you stand in the gas station and you behind somebody and they fidgeting and rubbing their pockets, in the back of your mind, they might not have enough money for this. Not judging, you just know. Especially if you've been there. You know. So I know how they carry themselves. So I would ask them. And again, this comes with you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't nobody want to talk about their money. Especially if you grew up in the black community, you keep that to yourself. You don't tell nobody how much money you make.
Keep it close to your chest.
Close to your chest. You don't tell nobody how much you pay for nothing. Well, that's how you don't get information. Because a lot of these people who have that information, they want to share that information, but nobody asks. So what do? They just pass it down to their kids. And that's how you get a big gap between the have and the have-nots. Not necessarily because the haves don't want to tell the have-nots, but the have-nots are too prideful to ask the haves, how'd you get it? It's too many people in America who came from nothing, who are millionaires. You've seen it with Bill Gates. You've seen it with Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. The list goes on and on. Even the Rockefellers started with nothing at the very beginning.
Everyone did.
Everybody did. So what's the difference between them and you? Only thing is the knowledge. Go get it. That's all you gotta do.
See, and it's a good thing that you're having this too, because at your young age. Yeah, I mean, we'll just say you're young. You know, that's how old you are. You are very cognizant of this need to make sure that you have everything in order.
Yeah, and that's only because what I want to do in life. I wholeheartedly feel that my calling is to help people. Well, the things I want to do as far as owning the house so that I can control the rent to help out people in lower incomes, whatever that be, whether it's me owning the block so that small businesses don't have to pay as much overhead so that they can get up and running, that costs money. I can't give charity like that on that level without money. So it's not that I want to get rich for me and just hoard it all to myself. My main goal is I want to get rich and actually do something with the money. Because my major pet peeve with rich folks is anytime something happens, they turn to poor folks to give money to these causes. And to me, that's BS. When you got all the money, why are you asking me for money and I'm barely making it?
Right, yeah.
That should be on you. With great wealth comes great responsibility. It's on you to do that, not me. So I want to be one of those who have it, so that when some earthquake in Haiti or a hurricane in New Orleans happens, I don't gotta go to, hey, help me put this money together and send it to the I ain't gotta do that. I do it myself.
Right.
Hey, I'll pay you. You a truck driver. You got this business. I want to take these goods down there. I'm gonna pay you to do that. That's what I want to do. I don't want to ask nobody to do that, but you gotta have money.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because you gotta, in order to give, in order to get, you gotta give.
Exactly.
And I remember I went down to a startup village years ago, and I was listening to H&R Block. You know, the man that owns H&R Block. He was like 90-something. I don't even know if he's still alive. But he had said something to me, to the group that just kind of got me. Someone asked about, his wealth and all that, and he said, look, you don't start a business to get wealthy.
Right.
If you start a business to get wealthy, you won't get wealthy.
Be broke.
He said you start a business to help people.
Exactly.
And that's how you get your wealth.
Exactly.
And the whole time he's talking, his son's sitting right next to him. He said, when I pass on, my kids aren't getting my money. This is one of the foundation. And I looked, and his son was like, had this look on his face, and I'm like, wow. But it always stuck with me. He said, you do that to help people. And then he said, also, once you have your business, he said, okay, think about how much how much you set your price at. But then you charge people less than that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, never heard someone say something like that. He said, because then, you get them as your customer.
Yeah. For life.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah. It's the same thing. And like when it comes to wealth and wealth management and wealth generation, a lot of people think it's hard. And based on what I've been reading and researching and figuring out for myself, it's not that it's hard. It's just that people lack the discipline to do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. And that's the thing that I'm reading and understanding. It's gonna hurt. But the whole thing is, do you want to hurt for 2 years and then live cushy after? Or do you want to hurt for 30 years? It's up to you. So my whole thing is, why not concentrate the hurt now so that in the long run, I don't have to hurt at all?
Yeah.
Because, that's the good thing about once you get your money going, especially with compounded interest. That's the main thing you're looking for is compounded interest. That's how your money grows exponentially. So once you get the ball rolling, it's going. You don't have to do nothing to it. Just keep throwing money in it. That's all you got to do. It does everything else on its own. As long as you get good investments, get you a good portfolio, make sure you diversify, you're going to be fine. And one thing that stuck out to me in my reading was that a good money management plan works when times are good and when times are bad, not just one or the other.
Yeah.
So the book I was reading, a lot of people might know it, Dave Ramsey, Money Takeover, Total Money Takeover. He was talking about how when that recession hit in 08 and 09, he didn't lose anything because he diversified. So when one market went down, the other market goes up. And when you read the stock market, that's how it goes. When one goes down, another one goes up. Very rarely does it all come crashing down at the same time. But if you're diversified enough, even if it does come crashing down, you still be good. And that's when they were explaining the difference between good debt and bad debt. Like your home is good debt. Because typically, if you bought a home, you're going to put work into it.
Right.
You're not going to sell it in the same condition that you bought it in. But when you do that, you build equity. Equity is one way you increase your finances, your net worth. Is equity in real estate.
Right.
Real estate, outside of the bubble, which when you think about it, they was doing a bunch of shady stuff anyway. So it was bound to pop anyway.
Right.
But traditionally speaking, over the course of the years that the stock market has been in play, real estate has been one of your safest investments. What I'm learning is what you're wanting is about 10 to 12% on your return. That's going to keep you ahead of inflation. Inflation increases at about 4%. So if you're getting about 10 or 12%, you're about 6 to 8% ahead on inflation. So your money is constantly going to be growing. That's what the wealthy do, that a lot of us don't do. And part of that is because we don't even have the money freed up to put into investments. The average American probably only has a 401k, and those are almost wiped out. You gotta have a real good company now to get a 401k.
Yeah.
So if a lot of Americans are dependent on something that's not there or won't be there, 401k, Social Security, when everybody retires, it's gonna be a lot of homeless people.
It is. That's why I'm glad I'm teaching. I got that pension.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of homeless people. It's gonna be a lot of people going hungry. It's gonna be a lot of people fighting just to get the bare necessities of life.
To make it so then we'll be dependent on the government.
Exactly. And if you're not dependent on the government, you're dependent on your kids who are already behind the 8 ball because you didn't know financial literacy to even teach them, so they falling into the same traps that you falling into. So it's just a vicious cycle that's going to keep you and your generations after you poor.
Right.
Poor is not money. It's a state of mind. And when you don't have the knowledge on how to be wealthy or how to even get to that point, you're doomed to be poor forever. And if you let your pride get in the way and still like, hey, I've noticed my family, my grandparents didn't have nothing, my parents didn't have nothing, I ain't got nothing. If that ain't clicked yet, that hey, something's not working, that's a bad sign.
You're supposed to be better off. I know, we have a couple of church members who was all about Dave Ramsey, and they ended up, paying off their house. Yeah. And I think they were actually on this podcast. I remember seeing the video.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, now I'm not saying do what Dave Ramsey did, because Dave Ramsey doesn't believe in any type of debt whatsoever, credit card debt, none of that. I believe if you're financially responsible and you can have a credit card, by all means do that. Ain't nothing wrong with having credit, using credit. If you know how to do it, do it. Yeah. But if you don't know how to do it, and you don't think that you can live life on cash, I'm here to tell you that you can. You don't need to go get a car loan. You don't need to go get student loans. They have savings accounts for you to save money for your kids' college that grow at 4% interest rate. So that means it keeps up with inflation. Wow. They have college funds that do that. They have Roth IRAs. They have secure IRAs. Like they have options to help you make that money so that when you retire, you don't have to work. It's a I want to. And that's another thing we gotta do. We gotta change our view on retirement. Yeah. And that's one thing I had to understand was retirement isn't I don't want to work. You should think of retirement as I'm making enough money to do what I love instead of doing what I have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you make your money work for you, and you got those compounding interest accounts, high interest saving loans, you don't have to work that hour intensive job anymore. You can go get whatever you want. Like there's one guy at the water department, he's about to retire, and he's so excited for retirement because he said, now I get to just go work at the zoo full time. He volunteers at the zoo. And that's what he loves to do. He loves animals. But he was telling me that because him and his wife invested and they actually paid attention to their pensions and 401ks and Roth IRA accounts, they have enough money to do that. That he can retire, she can retire, house is paid off, cars are paid off. So the only thing they're paying is property taxes and utilities. They can do whatever they want. He said as soon as he retires, he's retiring at the end of the month, they're going on a month-long vacation, fully paid for.
No, that's right. You know, and it's funny you was talking about retirement. I know when I was teaching, they was talking about, I knew a guy who actually bought some years to where he retired early. He retired at 44.
Yeah.
Because he bought years. And they said the time to buy years is when you're young.
Yeah.
When you first start working, start buying years because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But the deeper you get into the workforce, the more expensive it is.
Yeah. Same with life insurance. That's another thing I realized. I had bought life insurance thinking, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. Came to find out I bought the wrong type of life insurance.
Yes.
Because the way my financial advisor explained it to me, life insurance is insurance on money that you're currently making. So that if something were to happen, you get sick or you get disabled or whatever, your income is protected. Because right now, while you're young, is the most money you're going to make. These are your money making years. And the biggest tool for growing your wealth is your income. So the more money you make, the better. But it also matters on where you allot that money. So just because you got a $120,000 job doesn't mean that you're going to retire and live good if you didn't plan for that. And that's the main thing is everything comes down to planning. Like when you go to school, you don't just show up. Especially in college, at least I hope not. You don't just show up. You got a plan.
Right.
You got a 4-year plan. This is what I'm going to do. These are the classes I'm going to take. So that by the time this allotted amount of time is over, this is what I'll have at the end of it. You got to do your retirement the same exact way. From the moment you start working a job, I don't care how old you are, 12, 15, 18, 22, doesn't matter. The moment you start working for your job and earning money, most of what you make, especially if you don't have any expenses, living at home, so all you high school kids out there living at home, got money, all that money, put it into a compound savings account, compound interest, and give you a chance for your money to start working for you. Because at that time, time is on your side. Once you get older, time's not on your side. Plus, it's more expensive to try to get to where you're trying to get to. You know, so for example, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say at 65 you're trying to have $1 million. And to get to that $1 million, and then you started at 18 years old and you put $2 into a compounded saving interest account or Roth IRA or whatever, and by the time you get to 65, you got $1 million. Now let's say that same 65, that same million, somebody don't start till 45. Well, instead of $2, now maybe they got to put in 10. So it gets more expensive. It's like that with life insurance. Life insurance, I found you want term life insurance with living benefit. That's what means if you get disabled, sick, can't work, laid off. Well, I don't think it works if you're laid off, but you know, that's what's going to protect your income. If you get that at 18 and you're healthiest, fresh out of high school, you've been working out at school all the time, playing football, your life insurance is going to be dirt cheap.
Sure is.
As compared to somebody who doesn't get term life until the age of 40, they might be paying $175 a month. Whereas you probably only want to pay like $12 at 18.
Yep. I'm glad you said that term life, it also works when you're living too. People think the life insurance only works when you're dead.
No.
No.
And that's the thing. A lot of what they sell us has death benefit on it and death benefit only. Death benefit is good. That protects you if somebody dies. But what if they don't die? And now they're in the hospital or paralyzed and you got to take care of them. That's when that living benefit comes in and it kicks in and helps pay for that. So that's what I had to learn too. The difference between the life insurances. Not all life insurance is good insurance.
Right.
You know, some of it is a scam.
And also, when you go on the life insurance you get through your job, now you get your own separate life insurance.
Yes.
Because your job, I mean, they're going to take care of them regardless.
Yeah, and I learned that a lot of times they don't say this because they didn't tell me this. I had to find out from my financial advisor. When you get life insurance through your job, the moment you terminate it, that life insurance is done.
It is. Yep.
It's over.
Yeah, when you leave, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. So get your own life insurance. Same with the, like, for example, I have 401k, I have pension. I'm in the union, trade. We still blessed like that, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But even in all of that, 401k, pension, and everything, I'm still looking into getting my own Roth IRA account. Same with my husband. He's going to get his own. And the Roth IRAs, I believe you can put up to $6,500 a year as long as you're under the age of, I think it's 40, 45. You can put in $6,500 a year. Over that age, you can put in more. Because again, it's for your retirement. And you get compound interest. And a lot of those Roth IRA accounts, like I said, they average between 10 to 12% interest, a good one. And when you're looking at Roth IRA accounts, I personally strongly suggest you get a financial advisor, CPA, or someone of the sort who knows exactly what they're looking at. But you want to look at not just for the past year or 5 years. You want to go all the way back, bare minimum 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's just bare minimum. You can go back further than that, but bare minimum 10 years. And if it's not averaging 10 to 12% over that 10-year time frame, don't get it. Because you want that 10 to 12%. That's going to keep you ahead of that inflation rate.
Wow. I'm learning so much talking to you about this.
Oh, I'm still learning myself.
Yeah, and
I'm still learning.
And that's a good thing about education, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm about to call my insurance company and be like, hey, do I got a what you
living benefit?
Living benefit?
That's what you
if
want.
not, well, then I need to get that.
Yeah, you need to get that.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit pricier, but like I discovered this past week, I don't know how much you want. You know, you can get as much life insurance as you want, but we settled on, my husband got $350,000 and I got $250,000. Well, we noticed, because I'm astute, I'm cheap, I noticed that there's a major price difference when you go from $200,000 to $250,000. It drops. Then when you go to $300,000, it goes back up. So you get a major price discount at $250,000.
You do.
So
yeah.
I suggest at least get $250,000.
Right. Yep.
That way, you know, if something goes wrong, that's $250,000, and it's a little cheaper. So as opposed, because I think for me, it was like, for my $250,000, I could pay, I think it said $30. No, it was $43 a month for $250,000, and for $200,000, it was like $48 a month. So it's like almost a $5 price difference.
Yeah,
just to get $500,000 more coverage.
Wow. And then also on top of that,
I mean $50,000.
you know, like, you know, these big insurance companies, you can bundle it. Like if you bundle
Yeah.
that with your auto insurance,
You can stack it.
Yeah,
That's another thing I
cheaper.
learned too. You can stack term life insurances. So like right now, you know, I'll tell you guys how old I am. I'm 30. So right now at 30, we have one plan. And then my financial advisor said if you want it, once you make another raise and get some more money, things might get a little bit more dangerous because I work in construction. She's like, at 35, you can get another term life plan on top of that. I was like, oh, okay. So you can stack them. So, you know, you can get $100,000 here, $100,000 there, you know, which you can afford. You can vary the terms. You know, you can get 5-year, 10-year, 20, 30-year. But the main thing is, because the way it was explained to me, health insurance while you're young, you can get the cheaper options because you're relatively healthy. You'll very rarely need it. Like, we have really good health insurance. I think we've probably used it in the 6 years I've had it. I think we probably used it twice. So, and that's for like little, main thing was COVID, used it for COVID. And then I think my husband like messed up his knee or something. Got an ice pack don't get an ice pack at the hospital, but that's what we ended up getting. Ice pack at the hospital.
Hold on, you went to the hospital and they gave you an ice pack? You could do that at home.
I'm trying to tell you, that bill was unnecessary. But basically, the health insurance now, you know, we can get the cheaper option because we don't really use it. But the life insurance option, we get the more expensive option because now we're in the time of our lives where it's the greatest risk of losing our income. And we're still trying to build our wealth. If you lose that income now, that's going to set you back so many steps. So you got to protect that income. And then once you get older, income's secured, you've got your Roth IRA accounts, you've got your retirement set up, you got your little nest egg, then you don't need as much life insurance. But you do need health insurance. So now what you were paying in life insurance, you can now convert over to health insurance and get the more expensive option, but the more expensive option pays for your stays in the hospital. So that's probably what you'll need, because as you get older, the odds of you having to stay in the hospital increase.
Yeah, they do.
So that's a bill that'll kill you when you're older, where when you're younger, that's a bill you don't really have. And I'm not saying all, just a majority, you know. So that's just another way it was explained to me. So everything I'm pouring into my life insurance now, once I'm older, retired, and not working, and have to pay for my own health insurance, I'll be able to afford the more expensive option, which on the back end will save me a lot of money. So
Wow. So do we have any comments or anything? And I know people are watching.
Oh, word?
Okay.
I didn't know people was watching.
See, that's a good thing about. That's a good thing about being on the air.
Yeah.
Because like these microphones disappear. But like you give us some great information that people need to be chiming in and asking questions to, because like I said, I've learned a lot just listening to you. I know that I need to go and make sure I have that living benefit on my insurance.
Definitely.
You know, you're talking about the Roth IRAs.
Yeah.
Bundling and stacking. You know, you can get multiple life insurance policies, but do not be banking on the one from your job.
No.
Because, I mean,
don't do
like,
that.
they used to always tell me when I first started teaching, they said, look, you can dial right now. That puts somebody in the classroom just like that.
Exactly.
I've seen it.
Exactly.
I've seen it. They don't care
Yeah.
about it. I mean, your job is looking out for them.
And they have to.
Yeah,
so you
they
can't
do.
really get mad at
You
them.
can't.
You know, it's a business.
Yeah.
Even, teaching or community service, like, it's a
Anything.
business at the end of the day. So you can't get mad at them for that. But at the same time, if you don't protect yourself, the only person you can really be mad at is you.
Exactly.
And if you don't know you need to protect yourself, that's different. But if you believe wholeheartedly that you are safe and you are fine, I challenge you this. Take a month off work. Take a whole month off. If you can do that, like, some jobs don't allow you to do that. But take a month off of work and see if you can really survive off of what you have. Because that's one thing, being in construction industry, they harp on. Construction isn't going to last always. You're going to have good years. You're going to have some bad years. There are going to be some times you not working. I worked with some guys who were out of work for almost a year and a half, almost. Just because times were down. They weren't building anything. Well, the one thing they always told us is you need to set aside, not majority, but a portion of your income for those rainy days. And that's one thing I stood on. And when COVID hit, I understood why they said do that. I was laid off for about 3 months, no income. Luckily, I had savings, but I realized during that time my savings weren't enough. Because we started penny pinching in places we shouldn't have needed to do that, having to borrow money from relatives when we shouldn't have needed to do that. And so now, when I'm looking at my financial situation now as an adult and being honest with myself, I understood, hey, I'm not doing this right.
Right.
I need to make a change here. But I also know I can't really ask family and friends because we all in the same situation. But unlike a lot of family and friends, I'm not too proud to admit that I don't know something. So I needed to go figure it out. And I started talking to people who were in a position in life that I wanted to be in. And the one things they were telling me is, you need to get you a financial advisor. If you don't know how to deal with your money, you need to get somebody to teach you. As much as we like to say money is the root of all evil, this, that, and the third, it's a necessity of life.
It is.
And if you don't have it, you are going to suffer.
It's the love of money.
Exactly.
It's the root of all evil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you got money and you don't love money, you tend to give it away. That's what a lot of rich people who really got what they want, they give it away. A lot of it's for tax break. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
You don't keep it a buck. It's a tax break.
Mm-hmm.
But also a lot of it is, because there's a lot of people who have money who don't don't claim that on their taxes when
Right.
they give away money. They just give it away.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good Christian people with money. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, like look at LeBron James and what he did with his money. He built the entire school.
Mm-hmm. And people they ragging on them like, dude, the school's brand new.
Yeah.
Look what he did. You know, it's
I mean, it's just the fact that he did it. I ain't seen no other. Well,
Right.
I think like Jalen Rose is partnered with a school or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Some other people did too, but I'm like, celebrate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't celebrate it, which I can understand. They probably don't want to, like, be seen as like gloating or trying to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when you got people like myself who see all these rich people with all this money, and they give to the same stuff, United Way, Red Cross, and we know that the CEOs of those companies are banking millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, it raises the question like, well, what are you doing with the money?
Right.
So I personally, I just would much rather, instead of begging them to do it, I just do it myself.
Do it yourself, yeah. And like, I heard a financial advisor tell me, she said that you can't have one stream of income and think you're gonna be successful.
No.
You gotta have multiple
Yeah.
strands of income in
Mo-
order to be. Well,
most-
she said at least 3 to 4.
Yeah. And I believe, where I read that at? I forget where I read it. I don't know if it was like Wall Street Journal or something, but it said that most wealthy people, like the top 1%, they have over 7 streams of income. And I mean, when you think about that, to a person like myself, that sounds ridiculous. Because I'm like, dude, I work one job, that's more than enough, right? Like, I've worked 3 jobs before. I'm like, dude, I don't understand. But then once I started doing some research and started realizing you don't have to work for all those streams of income.
Your money could be working for you.
Your money could be working for you. So when they say 7 streams of income, they don't mean they have 7 jobs. They got 7 different avenues where money's coming in at. That's all that means. So they could have a partnership with somebody and not even be running that company, but getting royalties off of that.
Right.
Or they could, own a record company and get royalties off of that.
Or write a book.
Yeah, write a book, do an audio book. Like I didn't know that. I read that because I was looking for passive income ideas. One of them was record an audio book, and they had a whole website where you could set up an audition and everything.
Speaking of books, I know 2 good books out there right now. Assorted Emotions by Tyrone Gethers Jr. and Love Lost, one of the memoirs of poems about her. Amazon.
Go get that.
Get that. It's in Barnes & Noble, and Walmart picked it up too.
Oh, nice. Hey, Walmart, that's a big one, bro.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big one.
Yep. You can Google it.
Hey.
Yeah.
See, I'm into reading now. I forgot how much I like to read. So I read 4 books last week. Yeah, I read 4 books. 2 financial literacy books, a psychological fiction book, and I read 12 Years a Slave last week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I read that entire book. It was a good one. I can't watch the movie.
No.
Great book, though.
Yeah.
I see why they made it a movie.
Well, Color Purple, the book was way better.
That's what I heard.
Way
That's
better.
what I heard.
Way better.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. No, The Great Gatsby book was way better.
I agree.
Now,
I did read that.
now, the newer movie that came out,
I haven't seen that.
they did kind of touch more on the books and certain pieces.
Oh, you talking about with Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a little closer
Yeah,
than
that
the
one
first
was. The
Great
first one was
Gatsby.
not, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing I remember from the first one that I was like, yeah, that was in the book was that car wreck with the taxi. That was really the only thing I was like, that was in the book. I remember
Yeah.
that.
And the eyes that was on the billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the part where he said he's wearing a pink suit.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
My favorite part.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Typically, the book is better
Mhm.
than the movie because the Harry Potter books far and beyond better.
That's
than
what I
the
keep
movie.
hearing. And I've never watched a
Way
full
better.
Harry Potter movie.
If
But
you read the book, it'll make you want to watch the movie, and then you'll watch the movie and be like, this ain't nothing like the book.
yeah.
The book is way better.
Hmm.
Even the description, like, when you read the book and you read how she describes the characters and things like that, me and my mom was actually talking about this, how an author can describe a character in excruciating detail, but it's not necessarily to give you an image visually of the character, but because that their appearance in and of itself is a character.
Mhm.
She does that a lot in
She
the book.
does. And
So-
you mentioned your mom. Shout out to Dink.
Ding ding almighty.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's old school.
Man, yeah. You gotta be there to know what that is.
Yeah, that's an insider.
Yeah, man, love her. Yeah. So, you mentioned about strands of income, and I wanted to run this idea by you, so I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
My thing is everyone is blessed with talents.
Yeah.
Everyone is blessed with gifts.
I agree.
And you can utilize your talents and your gifts as income.
Yeah.
For example, if you like, for example, my sister, Denisha, Sweet Peaches.
That's her?
No, not my sister, but no. She's I've been on. We've been on each other for years. Went to the same church for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing her out at a pop up, and she said, "Yeah, I made these peach cobblers," and I tasted it. It was good. She had different varieties of it. Now she's in grocery stores, not just in Kansas City, but in other cities across Missouri.
Yeah.
Because but she can bake.
Yeah.
You can go to grocery stores here in the city and see the Sweet Peaches cobblers that she made at home. That's now in the grocery store.
Wow.
Then you got my man David Jordan. Does drip water. His water is in gas stations.
That's his water.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, the brother that runs Dispatch Post US the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I didn't know that.
And then you got Mike Orr.
Yeah.
He sell water too.
I didn't know that.
And then he started doing photography. He's all over the place.
Okay.
So it's like they're taking their talents and their gifts and they're making it run.
Yeah.
You got these brothers that got these T-shirt shops, the IMKC store. You got Deep Rooted. You know, it's like they're doing so much. Like Deep Rooted is now doing manufacturing.
Yeah.
He's like, come to me and I can help you get your stuff manufactured.
Yeah.
So they're taking they're compounding on top of their gifts, on top of their wealth. So I sat and thought about it. I said, this year marks my 20th year in education. Long time.
Yeah, that's a real long time.
Long time. And I sat and thought about it. I've seen a lot.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
Been through a lot.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
And I said, what if I go and I sit down, you know how those one man or one woman shows? If I go to a nice establishment or a nice theater and just sit down, me and a microphone, and I just talk.
Tell your stories?
Yeah, tell my stories.
That'd be good.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, you know they actually used to do that back in the day, right? That's how they used to do fortune telling. I mean, not fortune telling, but get folk stories out and stuff. That's all they used to do. Just a one man show, sit up there and tell stories.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit up there.
Charge like a nickel and everybody come and listen to a story.
Come up and just listen to what.
Yeah.
And then what I'm gonna tell you the truth about education.
Yeah.
The truth about what I've experienced.
A lot of times that's the best way to get advice out.
Yeah.
Because then, think about it, you're not censored.
Right.
Nobody telling you what you can and can't say. And you right there. So it gives that personal rapport almost. Like, I know who you are. I see you.
Right.
You're almost tangible in a sense. So I know you're not lying to me. You know, it's kind of like why you go to a comedy show.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
or why you go to a concert.
Right.
You know, you listen to the music. It's cool, you know, but it's different when you can see them and be like, oh no, you like exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that's cool. I like that.
I looked at my resume and I said, this is an episode. That's an episode.
Yeah.
That's an episode. I got 1 year that could probably go at least 2 or 3 different nights.
I could talk for probably 3 hours on just my few years working in freedom school. So I can only imagine how long you could talk. Yeah. And that was just a 6-week program.
Yeah.
Or 8, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see my shows. I like to talk.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. So, I bounced
that.
off of a few people. And then I bounced off Shanae. I mean,
Yeah.
she's always, told it like it was.
And then you could even go one step further and like give your perspective from the teacher perspective, and then you can probably get like a superintendent or then like a principal, and then you can get the teacher that everybody loved, the gym teacher, the music teacher, and then get the lunch lady, because the lunch lady always got some stories.
The custodian.
Yep.
And the front office staff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Because everybody sees the education system through a different lens.
They do.
You know, and then kids are they act different around different people. Like I know for us, especially in high school, custodian, cool person, he's invisible. So you literally do anything in front of the custodian. I've seen kids start fights, cussing, and having, rap battles. Custodian right there. You know, same with the lunch lady.
Yeah,
You know, kids get the lunch, they cut loose. The lunch lady probably done seen them make up dances and make rap songs, stuff teachers won't see. You know, and then the superintendent hardly ever there, so his perspective will probably be from dealing with parents and co-workers, teachers,
Right.
you know, dealing with them, because I'm sure there's some crazy teachers out there. I don't doubt that at all.
Several. I can name some names, but I won't.
Let's not.
My one-man show, though, I will.
Oh, of course. Of course. That's the time to do that.
Exactly.
That's the time to do that.
Exactly.
You, just so nobody offended, you can change the names around. You know, so instead of Mr. Brown, you say Mr. B. But when you tell the story, especially if they know Mr. B, they know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You could do that.
I get you.
That way you build like kind of like a little inside deal. Like that way old students come see you, like, oh, I know who he talking about.
Yeah.
That gives you a different, you know, different levels, you know. But I like the idea personally.
Okay.
I'm always been down for the whole form of exchanging information because I feel, I was listening to one guy and he was talking about how young folk and old folk don't talk to each other. And he said one of the benefits of young people talking to old people is that they become wise among the young people. And the benefit of older people talking to younger people is that they move faster among the older people. And I never thought about it like that. And I realized how, like, growing up, you know, my mom would be into our slang and how the teenagers talk. And I look at people like Ms. Lynn, spent a whole life around teenagers, and you see how young it keeps them.
She's still hip. To this day.
But it keeps you young. And then I listen to, like, those of us who interacted with the older people and actually sat down and not eavesdrop on the conversation, but just picked up them little gems that they would drop every now and then. And I noticed how we move compared to those of us who didn't.
Right.
So I can kind of see some validity to that.
Yeah.
So I'm always down for the older forms of talking.
And we're doing that right now.
Yeah.
That's a definite.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect closure because as you can see, we came up with our time.
Hey, that
So
was
see
easy.
that? You nailed it.
That was easy.
And you just closed the show.
I did.
You did.
Hey, let's go. I'm learning out here. I'm learning.
Yeah. But you know, an Inkwell show and an Inkwell show, unless I say, in the Inkwell, education is just like ink. Let it overflow and let it stay permanent. I'm Tyrone Gethers Jr. with my co-hostess,
Trinae Reed.
and hopefully what we discussed today and what you saw today, you can take that and add wealth to your life. We got another show for you next week. See you then.
Cool. So what you want to talk about next week?
You talking about the